if you'd never heard any other analyst talk about Shedeur Sanders, when you watched him play as a former NFL pick, what did you see that you liked or didn't? Did you think he was a first-round player?
Yeah, I did, Colin. I thought he was first-round talent. I don't know the guy. I still, it's sort of a mystery to me why he fell as far as he did. But when I watch him, he's accurate. He throws with anticipation. You know, there's a quarterback thing that I always look for if I'm watching quarterbacks. You know, the ones that are successful, you can almost see the future, right? You have to be able to anticipate. You have to throw guys open. If you wait to see a guy open, especially as you rise to the NFL level, then you're behind and you're just not going to be successful. And I've watched that happen with some quarterbacks that had really big arm talent, but they had to wait to see somebody open before they throw the ball. Shedeur seems to be able to anticipate well. I liked watching him play in college. Again, he didn't have a ton, you know, of help up front. He was getting hit. It's another thing that I look for. You know, I'm always kind of suspicious when you see some of these, not always, but some of these quarterbacks that come out of the great programs, the Ohio States and Alabamas of the world, because, you know, they're out there. Their guys are better than the other guys. They're not getting hit. They're throwing to open guys. You know, most guys should be able to do that. But when you watch a guy that's getting hit repeatedly and still popping up and making the plays for you, you know, that's something that is a quality that's hard to learn if you can learn it. And he got his ass knocked off in college and still continued to battle and play well.
Nobody saw this coming. Not Joe Flacco, not Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and certainly not the Browns front office. But from the first snap of rookie camp, there's been one quarterback turning heads, dropping dimes, and walking around like he already owns the huddle. Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, Deion's son. And word out of Cleveland is the vets aren't just noticing him, they're nervous. Real nervous. Because Shedeur isn't just fitting in. He's showing up to the guys who were supposed to be ahead of him, and it's starting to feel less like a rookie learning curve and more like a takeover in real time. So what's really going on at Browns camp? Let's break it down. At first it started as whispers, quiet reports coming out of rookie minicamp. Shedeur sharp, his anticipation is elite. This kid gets it. You hear that kind of buzz sometimes, media friendly fluff that dies off once the real bullets start flying in pads. But this time the noise only got louder, and then came the practices with the vets. That's when things shifted. It's not just that Shedeur looked poised, it's how uncomfortable the other quarterbacks started to look. Joe Flacco, the elder statesman, suddenly checks down on plays he usually lets rip. DTR, the young athletic. Spark plug, forcing throws he didn't need to force. Meanwhile, Shedeur was out there dropping back smooth, eyes downfield, hitting windows before they opened, and doing it with that same calm, surgical style he showed at Colorado. Except now, it's against NFL talent. You could feel it in the body language. Guys like Flacco know how this league works. You've seen dozens of rookies come and go. You know when a kid is just flashing, but you also know when he's got it. And Shedeur? He's got it. Here's where it gets real. According to former NFL quarterback Drew Bledsoe, who knows a thing or two about arm talent and...
Bledsoe is now joining us live, 14 years, four-time Pro Bowler, Patriots Hall of Fame joining us, former #1 overall pick. Yeah, forget all the Bill personal stuff. Is that college football is a lot. It's like the movie poster. What's the movie? Pete Carroll, big energy. Bill Walsh, lower energy academic. How do you think he'll do as a coach?
It's going to be interesting to watch, Colin. And I think if nothing else, it's going to get eyeballs, right? So, I mean, if that's what you're looking for, people are going to be watching, North Carolina football. But you're right. You have to simplify things. You only get a certain amount of time. And then, now coaching in college is so much different too, because not only do you recruit guys coming in, you have to keep recruiting them the entire time you're there. Bill's always been so focused, just one dimensional on the football. It's going to be really interesting, to see, how he does dealing with all the other stuff that is involved in coaching college now.
Awareness. Shedeur is already showing next level traits. He's accurate. He throws with anticipation. He gets back up after hits. That stuff's hard to teach, Bledsoe said. That ain't hype. That's a vet breaking it down like a scout. Let's be clear. Shedeur Sanders didn't walk into a friendly quarterback room. Joe Flacco may be 39, but he's riding a resurgence. Remember how he stepped in last year and nearly carried the Browns to playoff glory? The locker room respects him. And DTR, He's got the athleticism, the upside, and the team project. Tag, the guy Cleveland's been grooming, so on paper, Shedeur should be QB3. Maybe QB2 if he's lucky, but football isn't played on paper. Let's rewind a bit. This is a kid who took more hits than probably any Power 5 quarterback in the country last season. That Colorado O-line? Leaky doesn't begin to describe. Shedeur was hit, sacked, and pressured relentlessly. And yet, he didn't fold. Stood tall, he made throws, he led comebacks, he got up every time. That tells you two things, toughness and leadership. You think NFL veterans don't notice that? You think guys like Myles Garrett, watching from the sideline, aren't seeing how the rookie handles himself under pressure? But it's not just grit, there's real polish here. One coach reportedly said Shedeur reads the field like a 3-year vet. Another source mentioned his calm command of the huddle. That's rare, especially when you're not the presumed starter. And look, I know what you're thinking. Come on, he's Dayon's kid. Of course he's getting buzz. But this ain't nepotism. This is tape. This is performance. This is results. And if we're being honest, the Shedeur effect might already be creating waves in that building. Let's talk dynamics.
I don't know if it has an impact on much, but Shedeur's been great. I mean, he's a lot of fun to be around in those meeting rooms, and I think so far there's been, at least once in the meeting room that he's made me crack a smile, and that's what it's all about. He's a young guy trying to learn some football and come out here and practice well and do those things. And like I said, he's been a lot of fun. Listen, I probably wasn't too far away from playing against his dad, and now I'm playing with him.
Joe Flacco, you've got 16 years in the league. You've won a Super Bowl. You're coming off a career-reviving run with Cleveland, and now you've got to walk into practice every day and see a 22-year-old out executing you. Maybe not every play, but enough to make coaches raise eyebrows? That'll mess with your rhythm, or DTR. Still trying to prove you belong, and then suddenly Shedeur's getting more reps, more buzz, more looks from receivers in drills. These things matter. This league, it's built on momentum and perception. You lose a step in camp, you're done. Shedeur's not just stealing moments, he's shifting the power dynamic. Now let's talk skill set. Shedeur isn't a wild scrambler. He's not going to torch you with 4.4 speed, but that's the trick. He doesn't have to. What makes him dangerous is what Bledsoe called his anticipation. NFL Open is not college open, and Shedeur, he's already throwing receivers open. That's grown man quarterbacking, the real tell, timing routes. In 7-on-7s, Shedeur's been seen hitting slants and comebacks before the receiver plants. That's NFL brain work. You either have that or you don't. And here's the part nobody wants to admit, especially in Cleveland's front office. This wasn't supposed to happen this fast. Shedeur was supposed to sit, learn, watch, maybe challenge for backup mid-season. But now it's a QB controversy in real time. Flacco's camp isn't saying much publicly, but internally, don't think for a second they're not tracking reps. Coaches are splitting up throws evenly. Film sessions are starting to highlight what Shedeur did right. That's not normal for a rookie, and there's growing noise that if he keeps stacking practices like this, Stefanski has to consider the unthinkable, giving the rookie real preseason starter reps. Because here's the truth. Once the locker room believes in a guy, it doesn't matter what the depth chart says. We've seen this before. Brady over Bledsoe, Dak over Romo, Russell Wilson over Matt Flynn. Once a team smells a real one, everything changes. And don't underestimate the power of Dayon's DNA. Say what you want about the primetime show, Shedeur is built from that same mold. Confident, composed, even-keeled under pressure. He's not overwhelmed. He's not intimidated. He's playing like a guy who already knows he belongs. And that's shaking the room. But let's be honest, this goes deeper than reps and spiral velocity. This is about timing, narrative, and urgency. The Browns are in a weird spot. Deshaun Watson's status is a giant question mark. Flacco is on borrowed time. DTR is raw. And the front office, they're desperate for clarity, for a signal. And Shedeur might be that signal, whether they're ready for it or not. Because right now, the Browns don't need a flashy name. They need consistency. They need someone who can operate within structure, while also handling chaos. And guess what? Shedeur's entire college career was chaos. His offensive line in Colorado was collapsing nearly every drive. His defense couldn't hold a lead. The media circus around his father was 24/7, and still, Shedeur kept that team in games they had no business competing in. That kind of resilience, that doesn't show up on a scouting report. But it shows up in camp when plays break down and the pocket's muddy. And don't overlook this. Cleveland knows what it has in Flacco. He's not the future. He might not even be the full season present. DTR, he's electric but inconsistent. But Shedeur, he's the mystery with upside. And upside in the NFL, that's currency. You want another wrinkle? Insiders around the league, not just in Cleveland, are already buzzing. One AFC assistant GM was quoted saying, if Shedeur were in the SEC last year behind a better O-line, he'd be a consensus first rounder. Another scout? There's a reason he didn't declare early. He's betting on being the guy in 2025, and he might just force the issue early. That's not smoke, that's heat. And heat, it rises fast. Now let's shift to the locker room politics, because make no mistake, those matter. Veterans are watching. Skill players, receivers, tight ends, backs. They see who delivers the ball on time, who talks to them between drills, who makes the huddle feel right. Word around camp is Shedeur's already built chemistry with several second-string receivers. And now, some of the starters are sneaking reps with him during red zone drills. That's subtle, but powerful. That's how coups start in a QB room. Remember, this league is a meritocracy until it's not. Teams will ride contracts and experience until someone like Shedeur makes it impossible. And he's on that trajectory, fast, and it's messing with people. One beat reporter described a tense moment after 11-on-11s, where Flacco walked off early while coaches continued breaking down plays with Shedeur and the first unit offensive line. You think that's normal? You think that's just a coincidence? Nah, that's a shift, and everybody in that building feels it. Now let's talk preseason. The Browns coaching staff is playing coy. Officially, it's all about developmental reps, but you can already sense the pivot coming. If Shedeur balls out in those first two exhibition games, the pressure to give him first team snaps will be enormous. And if he does get a taste of that stuff over, Flacco vet, TR because the gadget package, and Shedeur, the QB1, the guy who will take over 25. But took it in August, and how poetic would that be? Think about it. A kid everyone said was just Deion's son, who fell in the draft because he didn't pop on tape. Now humiliating two grown NFL quarterbacks at one of the most intense training camps in the league. You can't script that better. Oh, wait, you can, because we haven't even talked about Deion yet. Coach Prime may not be on the sidelines in Cleveland, but his presence is felt. You know Shedeur's phone is lighting up every night after practice. You know his father is in his ear, coaching him mentally for this moment, this takeover. And here's the difference between Shedeur and other rookie QBs. He's not trying to prove he belongs. He already believes it. The result? Confidence without cockiness, calm without hesitation, swagger without sloppiness. And veterans, they respond to that. There's a growing sense among Browns insiders that Shedeur isn't just learning the playbook, he's subtly leading already. One anonymous assistant reportedly said, it's like he's been here 2 years. He talks like a starter. You can't fake that, so here's the question. What happens next? If Shedeur continues this run, if he keeps stacking impressive practices, drawing support from receivers, and putting pressure on the vets, do the Browns pull the trigger? Do they really consider starting a rookie who wasn't even a first-round pick? In most organizations, no, but Cleveland, a franchise that's been starved for consistent QB play for decades, with Deshaun's status still shaky, with a fan base dying for something fresh, something real. Yeah, they just might, and don't think Shedeur doesn't know it. Every throw he makes in camp, every rep, every look off, every perfectly timed post route, he's stacking leverage. He's building his case, brick by brick, and at some point, the wall's gonna get too high to ignore. So I'll ask you, is this just a hot camp, or are we witnessing the actual changing of the guard in Cleveland? Is Shedeur Sanders just another promising rookie, or is he about to pull off the most shocking QB takeover of 2025? Because if what we're seeing in camp keeps trending this way, Joe Flacco and DTR won't just be looking over their shoulders, they'll be looking for a new team. Let us know what you think. Is Shedeur ready to be the man in Cleveland, or are the Vets still holding strong? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more raw, behind-the-scenes sports breakdowns just like this, you already know what to do. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and turn on notifications. Because this QB battle, it's just getting started, and you won't want to miss what happens next.